Ladies and gentlemen, the story of Ashab is a profound lesson from the Quran. These young men, facing oppression and disbelief in their society, sought refuge in a cave to protect their faith. Allah granted them a miraculous sleep for many years, and when they woke up, the world had completely changed. Their story teaches us the power of patience, faith, and trust in Allah's protection, even in the most difficult times. The story of Ashab holds great significance in Islamic teachings, and one of the most important lessons it imparts is the protection of faith. In a society filled with corruption, oppression, and disbelief, these young men chose to protect their most valuable possession, their faith. Their decision to take refuge in a cave, away from the pressures of the world, is not just a physical escape but a deep spiritual and emotional act of preserving their belief in Allah. This act of protecting their faith, especially in the face of intense adversity, is a powerful message for all believers, reminding them of the importance of safeguarding their belief in Allah, no matter what challenges they may face. In the time of Ashab, their society was governed by a tyrannical king who demanded that everyone worship idols and abandon the true path of worshipping the one true God. This oppressive environment was not just a test of physical strength or courage but a test of faith. The pressure to conform to societal norms and to abandon their belief in the oneness of Allah was immense. However, these young men had something far greater than the fear of social ostracism or physical punishment. They had unwavering faith in Allah, and they knew that their faith was more precious than anything else in this world. When they realized that there was no way to practice their faith freely in the society they lived in, they made a courageous decision. They chose to leave everything behind, their families, their homes, and all that they knew, in order to preserve their connection to Allah. They sought refuge in a cave, which became a sanctuary not just of safety from worldly harms but of spiritual tranquility. The cave represented their desire to escape the influences of a corrupt world and maintain their devotion to the true and only God. This decision speaks volumes about the lengths to which they were willing to go to protect their faith. By choosing to leave their society and take refuge in the cave, Ashab demonstrated the importance of keeping one's faith intact, especially when surrounded by disbelief and injustice. The world around them was filled with temptation, corruption, and a society that had lost its moral compass. Yet, these young men were not swayed by the pressures of society. They recognized that the most important thing in their lives was their relationship with Allah, and they were willing to sacrifice everything else to preserve it. The story of Ashab teaches us that sometimes preserving our faith requires us to make difficult decisions. There may be times when the world around us is in turmoil, when the values of society are in direct conflict with our own beliefs, and when standing firm in our faith feels like a lonely battle. But Ashab remind us that we should never compromise our beliefs for the sake of convenience, popularity, or safety. Sometimes, protecting one's faith means distancing oneself from negative influences, whether it's harmful environments, toxic relationships, or a corrupt society. It might require us to take a stand and make sacrifices that others may not understand, but it is in these moments that we find the true strength of our faith. In today's world, many of us face similar challenges. We live in a society where materialism, worldly desires, and distractions often take precedence over spirituality. The constant pressure to conform to societal norms, to fit in, and to chase fleeting pleasures can sometimes pull us away from our religious values. But the story of Ashab reminds us that, no matter how difficult the situation may be, we must hold on to our faith. We must never lose sight of our purpose as believers in Allah, and we must strive to protect our faith at all costs. This protection of faith is not just a physical act, like seeking refuge in a cave, but it is also a mental, emotional, and spiritual commitment. It requires us to constantly be aware of the influences around us and to guard our hearts and minds from being swayed by things that go against the teachings of Islam. Just as Ashab turned to Allah for protection, we too must seek Allah's guidance and protection in times of uncertainty. By doing so, we strengthen our belief and commitment to the truth. Moreover, the story of Ashab also highlights the importance of supporting one another in the journey of faith. These young men did not embark on this journey alone. They supported each other, encouraged one another, and shared their strength and faith in Allah. In times of difficulty, it is essential that we, too, surround ourselves with fellow believers who share our values and can help us remain steadfast. The companionship of righteous individuals plays a vital role in keeping our faith strong, especially when the world around us tries to pull us away from the straight path. The protection of faith is not only about avoiding negative influences but also about actively seeking ways to nurture and strengthen our connection with Allah. It means dedicating time to prayer, reflection, and seeking knowledge. It involves immersing ourselves in the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to better understand our purpose in life and how we can live according to the will of Allah. Just as Ashab relied on their faith and their trust in Allah's mercy and protection, we, too, must place our complete trust in Allah, knowing that He is always there to guide and protect us. The sacrifice that Ashab made by leaving their homes and society was not in vain. They were rewarded by Allah with His mercy and protection, and their story has become an eternal lesson for humanity. The very fact that their story is preserved in the Quran serves as a timeless reminder that protecting one's faith is of utmost importance. Allah rewards those who strive to protect their faith, and He promises them His protection and guidance, just as He did for Ashab. When we reflect on the story of Ashab, we are reminded of the value of our faith and the lengths to which we should be willing to go to preserve it. Whether it's through distancing ourselves from harmful influences, seeking support from fellow believers, or actively engaging in acts of worship and reflection, protecting our faith requires dedication and effort. And just as Ashab were rewarded for their commitment to their faith, we too will find solace and strength in our devotion to Allah. It is a reminder that our faith is our most precious possession, and we must do everything in our power to protect and nurture it, even in the face of adversity. The story of Ashab, or the people of the cave, is a profound reminder of the importance of trust in Allah's protection, especially in the most challenging and uncertain of circumstances. Allah's miraculous protection of these young men for years in the cave serves as a powerful lesson on the strength of patience, faith, and the unwavering trust in the Almighty. Even when facing seemingly insurmountable trials, the narrative shows us that no matter how dear a situation may seem, Allah's protection and mercy are always with those who trust in Him. The Ashab were young believers living in a society filled with corruption, disbelief, and oppression. At the time, their king demanded that everyone abandon their true faith and worship idols. The king's oppressive rule and the pressures of society left no room for individuals to practice their belief in Allah. For these young men, the societal conditions had become unbearable. They were faced with the choice of either abandoning their belief in Allah to conform to the corrupt society or seeking refuge elsewhere to preserve their faith. Their decision to leave everything behind and seek refuge in the cave was an act of complete trust in Allah. They did not know what would happen to them, nor did they have any idea about how long they would have to stay in hiding. What they did know, however, was that Allah was the ultimate protector, and they placed their full trust in Him to keep them safe from harm. This trust was not a mere verbal statement, it was demonstrated through their actions, as they chose to abandon worldly security in exchange for the protection of their faith. They understood that, even if they had to endure hardships, they were ultimately in the care of the One who controlled everything in existence. In the cave, Allah granted them a miraculous form of protection. They were made to sleep for many years, and when they woke up, the world around them had changed completely. This miracle of divine protection highlights Allah's absolute power over time and life. While the world around them continued to change, Ashab remained preserved in their sleep, safe from the trials and tribulations of the world. Their protection was not just physical, it was spiritual and emotional as well. The peace and comfort they experienced while resting in the cave was a form of protection that only Allah, in His infinite mercy, could bestow. The miraculous nature of their protection teaches us a critical lesson about trust in Allah. No matter how difficult the situation may seem, the belief that Allah is watching over us and will protect us can provide a sense of peace and security, even in the most trying circumstances. This is especially important in a world where so many people face trials that seem insurmountable. Whether it is financial hardship, personal loss, or struggles with one's faith, Trusting in Allah's protection can give a sense of solace and assurance that no matter what happens, we are never truly alone. In addition to their miraculous sleep, the protection of Ashab is also seen in the way Allah safeguarded them from the effects of time. When they woke up, they found that their money and food had not decayed, and the world around them had changed dramatically. The king who had once oppressed them was gone, and the society they once knew had transformed. This not only demonstrates Allah's protection but also illustrates that time itself is under His control. The fact that Ashab were preserved for so long without aging or suffering from hunger or fatigue is a powerful reminder that Allah is in control of everything, including time itself. No matter how long the trial may seem, Allah's protection remains constant, and His mercy is never-ending. One of the most remarkable aspects of the story is the way Allah used the experience of Ashab to demonstrate His power to all those who would later hear their story. The people who discovered the cave and learned about the young man's miraculous sleep were amazed. This incident became a sign for them, a tangible proof of Allah's ability to protect His servants in ways beyond human comprehension. The power of patience and trust in Allah was revealed not only to Ashab but also to the entire community who witnessed the miracle. It served as a powerful reminder that Allah's protection and mercy are boundless and that those who trust in Him, no matter their circumstances, will ultimately find safety and peace. For us today, the story of Ashab is a beacon of hope. In a world where it often seems that challenges and difficulties are insurmountable, the story serves as a reminder that patience and trust in Allah can lead to deliverance, even when all seems lost. Many people today face overwhelming difficulties, whether it's personal struggles, societal pressures, or challenges related to faith. The story of Ashab encourages us to turn to Allah with complete trust, knowing that He has the power to protect us and guide us through any trial. When we trust in Allah's protection, we are reminded that Allah does not test His servants beyond their capacity. The trials and challenges we face in life are part of Allah's divine plan, and He has promised that He will always be there to protect and guide us through them. Ashab story teaches us that while trials are a part of life, they are never without purpose, and Allah's protection is always available to those who seek it. The patience displayed by Ashab is another crucial aspect of their story. They did not rush or try to escape their situation on their own. They didn't try to take matters into their own hands or seek shortcuts. Instead, they placed their trust in Allah completely and waited patiently for His divine intervention. Their patience was rewarded, and Allah's protection manifested in the most miraculous of ways. In our own lives, this teaches us the importance of having patience in the face of adversity, knowing that Allah's plan is always better than our own and that sometimes waiting for His guidance and protection is the best course of action. Patience, however, is not a passive state. It is an act of trust in Allah's wisdom and timing. It is the belief that, no matter how difficult things may seem, Allah is fully aware of our situation and will protect us according to what is best for us. The protection of Ashab is a reminder that, while we may not always see the immediate results of our trust and patience, Allah's plan is always unfolding in the background, and His protection will manifest at the right time. Moreover, the trust in Allah's protection is not just limited to moments of physical danger but extends to all aspects of life. Whether we are struggling with personal challenges, facing social pressures, or enduring the pain of loss, the story of Ashab reminds us that Allah is always with us, watching over us, and guiding us through every trial. By placing our trust in Allah's protection, we strengthen our connection with Him and open ourselves up to His mercy and grace, knowing that He will guide us through the darkness and into the light. Thus, the story of Ashab is not just a historical event, it is a timeless reminder of the power of patience and trust in Allah's protection, and it continues to inspire and guide believers through the challenges of life. It teaches us that no matter how difficult or impossible a situation may seem, the protection of Allah is always available to those who trust in Him.